What's up, football family? We've got major breaking news coming out of Dallas, and it is sending seismic shockwaves through the NFL world right now. I'm talking about a headline that no one saw coming. Trevon Diggs, the Dallas Cowboys star cornerback, one of the league's top defensive talents and a cornerstone of that rising Cowboys defense, is officially out. And the Cowboys have just made a $120 million decision that has left fans, players, and analysts across the league completely stunned. If you're just tuning in or just saw this on your feed and thought it had to be clickbait, nope, it's real, and we're going to unpack all of it. This is the kind of moment that changes the course of a franchise's season or maybe more. Trevon Diggs, who just recently signed a massive 5-year, $97 million extension with Dallas, a deal that could be worth up to $120 million with incentives, suffered a devastating injury during a non-contact practice session, reportedly tearing his ACL. Let that sink in for a second. A non-contact injury. 1 minute he's out there locking down receivers like it's just another day in Frisco, and the next, he's being helped off the field by trainers with the entire Cowboys locker room in stunned silence. And if you know anything about Diggs, you know he's not the type of guy to just drop to the turf unless something's seriously wrong. The Cowboys have officially confirmed the injury and announced that he'll be out for the entire season. It's a brutal, heartbreaking blow not just for Cowboys Nation, but for the entire NFL, because love him or hate him, Trevon Diggs is one of those players that make the game exciting every single week. Now, let's get into why this is such a monumental shakeup. First off, Diggs isn't just a top-tier corner, he's an elite playmaker. We're talking about a guy who led the league in interceptions in 2021 with 11 picks, a player who's known for baiting quarterbacks into throws they think are safe, only to snatch the ball and flip the script in an instant. He's a defensive weapon, a ball hawk with a wide receiver's hands, no surprise given he's the brother of Bills WR Stefon Diggs, and he's been a critical piece of Dan Quinn's defensive scheme in Dallas. This is a unit that was expected to be among the NFL's most dominant this year, especially with the addition of Stephon Gilmore, who was supposed to be that other lockdown corner opposite Diggs, giving Dallas arguably the best cornerback duo in the league. But now, that whole plan is in jeopardy. The Cowboys' defensive identity just took a huge hit, and they're going to have to scramble, and I mean scramble, to patch together a secondary that was built around Diggs' unique skill set. And here's where things get even more jaw-dropping. The Cowboys have just restructured Diggs' deal, converting a massive chunk of his salary into guaranteed money despite the injury. That's right, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys front office have committed to Diggs long-term, betting that he'll bounce back from this injury and return to form as one of the NFL's elite corners. On the surface, it looks like a gesture of faith, a vote of confidence in their young star. But from a business perspective, it's also one of the riskiest moves we've seen in recent memory. You're talking about guaranteeing tens of millions of dollars to a player who just suffered one of the most serious injuries in football and who plays a position that relies heavily on explosiveness, change of direction, and lower body strength. Now, let's talk ripple effects. This injury doesn't just impact the Cowboys, it changes the entire NFC landscape. Dallas was looking like a legit Super Bowl contender this year, boasting one of the nastiest pass rushes in the league, an improved secondary, and an offense led by a healthy Dak Prescott with playmakers like CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, and Tony Pollard. But without Trevon Diggs, that's a whole new ballgame. Suddenly, the pressure on Stephon Gilmore just doubled. Suddenly, you're asking Darren Bland, who's had flashes of potential, to step into a full-time role against elite receivers. Suddenly, opposing quarterbacks who might have hesitated to throw anywhere near Diggs are now licking their chops. Teams are going to test that secondary relentlessly. And this isn't just theory, it's NFL history. We've seen it before. One key injury can open the floodgates, create mismatches, shake the confidence of a defense, and alter the trajectory of a team's season. Remember what happened to the Ravens when Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey went down? The entire defensive unit lost its bite. That's the kind of domino effect we could see in Dallas if they don't adjust quickly. And look, there's another layer to this, and it's a hard conversation, but we've got to have it. Diggs is coming off a 2022 season where he cleaned up a lot of the criticisms about his boom or bust style. People used to say he gave up too many big plays, gambled too much. But last season and the start of this year, he showed maturity, discipline, better footwork, and more consistent coverage. He was evolving into a true shutdown corner, not just a playmaker. And now, all of that momentum, that growth, is put on pause. ACL injuries are no joke. Even with the best medical care, rehab, and facilities, there is no guarantee a player comes back with the same speed, agility, or confidence. Some guys come back better. Look at Adrian Peterson. Others never quite regain that elite edge. And for a cornerback, where milliseconds and micro adjustments matter, that's a terrifying uncertainty. So yes, the Cowboys are showing loyalty, but they're also taking a gamble that could define this era of the franchise. So what's next for the Cowboys? That's the big question. Do they trust their depth? Are they looking at free agents or trade targets? Because the trade deadline is looming, and if the Cowboys truly believe this is their Super Bowl window, they can't afford to just ride it out. I'm looking at names like Patrick Peterson, maybe a reunion tour, maybe a short-term rental. I'm looking at veterans who can hold the line while Gilmore mentors the younger guys. But more importantly, this coaching staff is going to need to retool the defensive scheme. Dan Quinn has built his identity around pressure and aggressive coverage, but that only works when you've got corners who can survive on an island. Without Diggs, that entire philosophy might need to shift. Maybe more zone, maybe more two safety looks, maybe less blitzing. It's going to be fascinating and honestly, a little scary to see how they adapt. Now let's talk about the fan reaction, because Cowboys Nation is going through it right now. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube comments, people are in disbelief. Some are angry, blaming the coaching staff for letting players go full speed in practice. Others are supportive, flooding Diggs socials with prayers and well wishes. And then there's the cynics, questioning whether this team was ever truly ready to contend. But here's what I'll say, Diggs going down is a gut punch, but the season isn't over. Football is the ultimate team sport, and sometimes adversity is the catalyst that brings out the best in players. We've seen next man up stories turn nobodies into legends. We've seen defenses rally around fallen stars and come out swinging. And with leaders like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Stephon Gilmore in that locker room, guys who've seen it all, you better believe they're not giving up the fight. So as we wrap up this emergency update, I want to leave you with this thought. Moments like this test not just a team's talent, but their heart. The Cowboys have the talent, that's never been the issue. But do they have the grit? The resilience? The ability to face adversity head on and come out stronger? That's the story we're about to witness unfold. And no matter what team you root for, if you love football, you'll be watching. Because when the lights are the brightest and the chips are down, that's when legends are made. Trevon Diggs may be sidelined, but his journey isn't over. His comeback story starts now. And for the Dallas Cowboys, this season just took a wild turn. Buckle up, folks. We're in for one hell of a ride. Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you're feeling for Trevon, and subscribe for more updates as we continue to follow this developing story. This is the kind of moment that defines a season, and we'll be here for every step of it.